get a lot of high probability trades with the information shared in that webinar. So I encourage you to go and check it out, and at your convenience, make sure you watch it. All right, so let's look at the key events for this week. Today is Monday, 2nd of February 2026, and there are two important events from the United States today. We have the ISM manufacturing PMI and the ISM manufacturing prices from the United States by 4 p.m. today. Now, the ISM manufacturing PMI is a medium impact event, and the manufacturing price ISM manufacturing PMI is a high impact event rather, while the ISM manufacturing price is a medium impact event. So both of them combined together could actually give some volatility on the US dollar. So let's take note of that. And tomorrow morning, Nigerian time, 4:30 a.m., there'll be cash rate from Australia. It's still interest rate, like I always say. Interest rate comes under different names from different countries depending on the preference. United States is called FOMC, Australia is called cash rate. Some call it interest rate directly. Whichever one it is, it still has to do with interest rate. So we're having interest rate, which is called cash rate in Australia, by 4:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. That's Tuesday morning Nigerian time. You can wake up early, to trade this event. It's usually volatile, so there's enough volatility to push price. Just make sure you make yourself available to trade it. And so that was planned from 4:30 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. tomorrow morning from Australia. Then by 10:45 p.m. 10:45 p.m. tomorrow, there'll be employment change and unemployment rate. So this is New Zealand's version of NFP coming out tomorrow by 10:45 p.m. That'll be late in the night. You can as well, still make sure you trade it before you go to bed. All right. Now on Wednesday, the key event on Wednesday will be the ADP non-farm employment change, which will come up by 2:15 p.m. from the United States, and also the ISM services PMI by 4 p.m. The ones from Eurozone may not carry much volatility. That's a core CPI flash estimate and CPI flash estimate, both medium and power, will not get volatility, but that ADP non-farm employment, this particular one will carry a lot of volatility, so please make sure you take your time to possibly be available to trade it on Thursday by 2:15 p.m. And finally, on Friday, we have the biggest. Okay, sorry, that was Wednesday. That was Wednesday for the ADP non-farm. On Thursday, there will be a lot of activity also from the United Kingdom. We have Bank of England monetary policy report, we have monetary policy summary, and MPC official bank rate votes. This is still interest rate from the United Kingdom. Then we have the official bank rate. So volatility is expected on Thursday from the United Kingdom by 1 p.m. 1 p.m. Let's take note of that. Now, same Thursday, there'll be a speech from the Bank of England, Governor Bailey, by 1:30 p.m. And there are other events also which could move the market, but the one I'll focus on more will be the unemployment claims from the United States. This comes up very often by 2:30 p.m. I want you to take note of that. Now, finally, on Friday this week, we have the biggest event in the Forex market, and that is the NFP, non-farm employment change, average hourly earnings, and unemployment rate, coming up by 2:30 p.m. Now, it's going to run simultaneously with the employment change and unemployment rate from Canada, but then our focus is usually the United States because that always carries more volatility. So we have NFP on Friday, and we're going to be trading it live at PU Prime. I've made this announcement since last week. Now the week is here. NFP is going to be here by Friday. Make sure you are available to trade with us, and most importantly, with a funded account. Now, if you don't have funds in your account yet, go ahead and fund. If you have funds already, top up. We're going to be making money live, by Friday by 2:30 p.m. So make yourselves available. All right, that's all I can share with us on fundamentals. Let's go over to the chart to look at technical setup, that could really evolve into profitable trades in the course of this week. Now, last week, which is a month of February, closed with a lot of volatility, across many instruments, and not just ordinary volatility on higher time frame like weekly time frame. That tells us that the market has really started for the year. I remember telling us in the month of December that usually between the second week in December and the second week in January, volatility is usually very slow in the market. Market movements can be very, scarce like that. But once we cross through the third week in January, market volatility resumes, and that's what happened. So the month of January closed with massive volatility, positioning the charts for long-term trends. The charts are already positioned for long-term trend, very swing and powerful trend, has been set up for the month of February. Now, to start with is the United States dollar, and this is the dollar index closing with a very, very sharp looking rejection candle there on the weekly time frame. That's the USDX, that's the dollar index. And if you look at this closely, it's not just ordinarily a rejection candle, but also a rejection candle at a confirmed support zone. Price touching these areas without breaking below it. So technically, we're going to be looking for a bullish movement on the dollar index for this week. Now, subsequently to that outlook is the fact that we'll be looking at a bearish movement on an instrument like a GBP USD and Euro USD. So on the Euro USD for a start, this is the Euro USD closing as a rejection candle, just like what we saw on the dollar index. That's a rejection candle on the weekly time frame, with also at a resistance zone. This is a valid resistance zone. So technically, we'll be looking at a downward movement on the Euro USD. But then there's still additional information to that. And additionally, we can add our trend line right here to still point us to a bearish direction on the Euro USD. Can see that trend line. We have a resistance, we have a downward moving trend line. That's price making lower highs, and also we have another trend line here, price making higher highs, and not just ordinarily higher high, also trying to form what looks a lot like a rising wedge pattern. And usually when you have a rising wedge pattern, price is still expected to drop down. So we have a powerful confluence on the Euro USD that is pointing us to the possibility of a bearish movement this week. Now, while it's a bearish outlook, it's still possible because of that big rejection candle. It's still possible we may have some retracement before the breakout happens. But ultimately, our focus is on a bearish trade on the Euro USD this week. So we can track it down to the daily time frame. Now, on the daily, I'm seeing something. I'm seeing a minor resistance here, which the price seems to be dropping slightly below it, but let's still hope it's valid. We have a minor resistance turn support here. So if I go down to 4-hour, there is the possibility, like I said, price may retrace before the breakout happens. It's a possibility. Now, if that retracement happens, that may give us, an outlook of what. It all depends on how it happens. I don't control the market. We may end up having a kind of a double top pattern which will break out. But then even if it doesn't form a double top pattern, even it's just a slight, bearish movement before a breakout, all that is important is that we are expecting a breakout to the downside. Okay, now I can as well draw a trend line this way, and we may have price retrace to retest that trend line, then breakout. Either way it happens, I still hold a bearish outlook on the Euro USD. RSI is already clearly below 50, and MACD already crossed below 0. So we should be getting ready for that bearish movement on the Euro USD. So this looks a lot like a swing setup of 4-hour time frame. We trade what the market gives us. However, if you want to trade it on 1 hour, it's still possible. Now you can see already on 1 hour, it looks like it's trying to form a double bottom. So price may go to hit this resistance, trend line rather. Then once there's a breakout again below that lower support zone, you are free to trigger a sell, even if it's on 1 hour. So either 4-hour or 1 hour, we're bearish on the Euro USD. Similarly, we have the same setup, at least directional wise, on the GBP USD. GBP USD also closed as a rejection candle on the weekly time frame last week at also a resistance zone. We have a valid resistance zone up there, and and that resistance even projects up to this point here. So we have a valid resistance zone on the GBP USD, and just like the Euro USD, we're expecting a move to the downside on the GBP USD. Again, if we let me remove the previous resistance so that it doesn't bring any confusion. Okay, we also have something that looks a lot like Euro USD, a resistance turn support, which might trigger slight move to the upside, possibly before the downward movement. Now, all these things are speculative. It may work out that way or not, but like I always tell us, what is most important is the direction. Don't get as good as patterns are. Don't get hung up on patterns. Rather, look at direction. The aim is to get the right direction. So whether it retraces before breakout or we see an outright breakout, what we're after is the direction. RSI also is below 50, though in this instance, MACD is yet to cross below zero, but notwithstanding, that doesn't change the fact that we're expecting the bearish movement on the GBP USD. Now, there are a couple of high probability setup that I saw in the market over the course of the weekend, which will trigger some long-term trends this week that can generate a lot of massive pips, and that is the Euro NZD and the GBP NZD. Now, I'll start with the Euro NZD. Now, this is Euro NZD on the weekly time frame. Price closed at a support zone last week, Friday, and also you can clearly see the formation of an upward moving trend line at that zone. So here we have two valid reasons to look for a bullish movement on this instrument. One, we have the trend line that is moving up, we have the support. Technically, we have a bullish outlook on the Euro NZD. And with that, you can come down to the daily time frame, for clearer entry opportunities, though we still need to take it down to the lower time frame, like 4 hour, but at least we can take it from the weekly to the daily. It's top-down analysis. Now, on the daily time frame, we can clearly see that the candle that closed on Friday last week was a rejection candle, and this seems to be forming the candlestick pattern, which is reversal in nature. All right, so we're looking for a reversal, so we have a trend line, a support zone, a rejection candle, all pointing upwards, and we're having already a bullish candle today, telling us that price is pointing towards the bullish direction on the Euro NZD. And with that, I can draw my trend line. I can draw a second trend line to give us a perfect looking falling wedge pattern. I still believe this may end up like an inverse head and shoulder to break out. But even again, if it doesn't break out that way, all I know is that once price breaks out above that uh, upper trend line there, with our RSI, other confirmation is RSI must be clearly be above 50 and possibly MACD above zero. If all this falls in place, we're getting ready for a massive bullish breakout on the NZD USD. Like I said, this is purely a swing setup. So if you're a swing trader, get ready. Food is getting set in the market. And projection of profit wise, projected profit rather for this could move as much, price could move as much as about 224 pips to Fibonacci 50, as much as about 300 pips to Fibonacci 1.8, and as much as about 460 pips to Fibonacci 78.6. So let's get ready for that massive breakout on the Euro NZD. Euro NZD. That is a swing setup. And like I said, we have a similar setup on the GBP NZD likewise. So for GBP NZD again, we go to the weekly time frame. And on the weekly time frame, we can also see that price close on an upward moving trend line and also a support zone, just like we saw on the Euro NZD. So technically, we're expecting a move to the upside again this week. And let's take it down to the daily. On the daily time frame, we can see the candle that closed last week is a doji. You saw a doji closing there, which is an indication of a bullish movement, and we take it down to 4 hour time frame. This is what we are equally seeing on the 4 hour. We have, well, what looks like a falling wedge also. It's still a falling wedge, and we're going to be expecting a breakout also to the upside here. And don't forget our confirmation, RSI must be clearly below 50 and MACD should be clearly above 0 in this instance. And just like the NZD USD, the profit potential of this setup also could be to the tune of about 200 pips to Fibonacci 50, about 300 pips to Fibonacci 17.6, and about 430 pips to Fibonacci 17.6. I tell you, these are my two high probability setup for this week. If you're a swing trader, don't sleep on this. Take note of it. And once the breakout happens, feel free to trade it. I tell you, this is high probability. Now, there is another setup also I'll show us, just a couple. I've analyzed 4 instruments already. Uh, for some other ones I'll show us now, which is also very, very good, setup. And I'll be looking at the card instruments. I will be looking at the card CHF. Now, this card CHF, I believe everybody should be able to trade it. One is that it's a low risk pair. It does not trend too much, and it's easy to manage. But then this setup I'm seeing is a very, very good one. Now, for the card CHF, again, the market closed as a rejection candle on the weekly time frame last week. You can see that this rejection candle is very common to a lot of the pairs I've shared with us, and that tells you that the market is getting set for a long-term, reversal in the market. So we have price drop, closing as a rejection candle on a support zone on the weekly time frame. Technically, that is a bullish setup, and if you look at it on the big picture, this may even end up forming something that looks like a double bottom pattern, which can trigger some major long-term, bullish breakout. Though for now, we are not really concerned about the, you can see now, I can still draw a perfect looking falling wedge again on the weekly time frame, telling you that CAT CHF, for the next couple of months is getting ready for a massive uptrend breakout. All right, but then the focus now is what to trade this week with this instrument. So I'm just showing you the big picture. Now, we've seen a rejection candle on the weekly time frame with at a support zone, but then we're not going to enter on that. We're going to go to a lower time frame. So daily time frame, we have a bullish engulfing candlestick pattern formed sometime last week, but that's not our focus. Our focus now is 4 hour. Now, on the 4 hour time frame, I'm seeing price forming an inverse head and shoulder pattern, which is expected to trigger a move to the upside. An inverse head and shoulder is forming on the 4 hour for card CHF. Now, since it's an inverse head and shoulder, this region here is a neckline from where, we expect the breakout. Please, anytime I use the pencil to draw price projected movement, it's just a projection. I'm not saying price will get to the tip of the arrow. Please, let's take note of that. I always like to clarify that. All right, let's look at projected profit on this. You can see that in this instance now, the neckline region is just around Fibonacci 50. That means we're going to be looking at beyond Fibonacci 50 for profit taking levels. Possibly if you're taking 2 trades, you may look at Fibonacci 61.8 and Fibonacci 78.6, and that can give you an average of about 20 pips to Fibonacci 61.8 and about 52 pips to Fibonacci 78.6. Now, if there's extreme volatility, price actually could go as high as Fibonacci 100, which is about 91 pips. But for day traders, even if you're a day trader, you have $100 account, you can trade this. The risk is low. And the thing about head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulder pattern is that it works for both 4 hour and 1 hour. So if you say, oh, it's 4 hour, yeah, I can't trade it. No, you don't need to bother about the 4 hour. Go down to 1 hour, it's still the same thing. Just make sure you make your entry above Fibonacci 50, and you can target Fibonacci 61.8 and possibly 78.6. That's about 20 and 50 pips, and you can catch easy 70 pips, for the week on this one. All right, so that's it on the card CHF. Okay, I think I need to stop here. Do I still have some other pairs, but I don't want to load us too much with all these instruments. So I'll stop here. For those who joined us late, I've analyzed the dollar index this morning and I said we're bullish on the dollar for this week. And because of that, conversely, we're going to be bearish on the Euro USD and the GBP USD, you know. And we are bullish on the Euro NZD, we're bullish on the GBP NZD, and we are also bullish on the CAD CHF. So that's about 6 instruments I've analyzed for the week. So if you have another question, you can go ahead and drop in the comment section, and I'm right here waiting to attend to all of them. Okay, Mushibolaton Olusegun, sir, can you help us to check it on 1 hour time frame? Okay, I believe you're talking about the CAT CHF, and I already have done that. It works both 4 hour and 1 hour. We're massively bullish on that instrument for this week. TMC FX, good morning, sir. For those who joined us late, this is PU Prime. If you're new to PU Prime, we're a global brand with head office in Australia and 2 offices in Nigeria. Abuja office is our head office for Nigeria, while Lagos is a regional office. We're an educative platform and also a trading platform. We're on a forex brokerage firm, and on this platform this morning, you are on our morning analysis where we give you insights into the moves of the market for the week. On Monday, we do the weekly analysis, but then other times of the week, it's daily. We show you what is happening, daily. And this Friday, 6th of February 2026, we're having what is called NFP, non-farm payroll, is the biggest news in the forex market. And we normally have a tradition of trading it live at PU Prime. It's always a live trading session. People will come online, we'll share with you our analysis, our outlook for that news event, and we'll give you a signal to trade. Live signal, give you entry price, take profit, stop loss. And I tell you, we've been doing this for like 2 years now, and we have about 80% winning rate. So don't miss it this Friday to join us on our live trading session with NFP. All right, so I'm seeing some requests drop. Somebody said I should check BTC USD card. Okay, TMZFX, I believe you want to type gold because you said check gold, please. I believe you mean gold. And Crypto Cash also said I should check gold. USD CHF from Esther. Okay, so let's start from BTC USD from TMC FX. All right, so this is BTC USD on the weekly time frame. I think let me go down to the monthly also. Okay, nothing much on the monthly, though we have on the monthly we have price approaching a resistance turn support zone, which can lead to a breakout to the upside, but that's in the big picture. Let's go down to the weekly. So on the weekly, it's still the same thing. We have price approaching a resistance, turn support. So that should give us a move to the upside. On the daily, price is just at the tip. Okay, I think I need to adjust. The rectangle is slightly not touching that point. So I'll just do a little adjustment, which could make this other point to fall in line. Okay. So that's a good one. So where you can see price is being rejected from this support. So technically we're looking for a reversal on BTC USD. So let's go down to 4 hour and finally 1 hour. Okay, can I still go down 15 minutes? 30 minutes? I'm just looking for the best fit. All right. Okay, so we're going to be looking for a reversal on the BTC USD, possibly on the lower time frame. It depends on your choice at this point. Maybe 1 hour, 30 minutes, or 15 minutes, whichever one is more, comfortable for you. All right, so we have a falling wedge pattern there. Let me go down to 15 minutes and check again. I think it is better. This is better. All right, so we have a falling wedge pattern on the 15 minutes time frame, and we'll be looking out for a breakout to the upside. and that should come up when RSI clearly crosses above 50. And in this instance, our advice you make of you allow your MACD to cross above zero. And this also looks like it's trying to form some double bottom pattern, which if that evolves, that will add, additional confirmation to the bullish breakout. So we're bullish on the BTC USD on the 15 minutes time frame, while we're waiting for confirmation on RSI to be above 50 and MACD also to be above zero. So bullish on BTC USD. All right, so next one is the USD card. Yes, USD card is one instrument that escaped my mind, but then, like I said, I didn't want to drop too many setup. I quite saw this one. All right, so this is USD card on the weekly time frame. The market also closed as a rejection candle. Don't forget, our dollar index is bullish. We had a massive rejection candle on the weekly time frame for the dollar index. So just looking exactly like this. So technically, for USD card to close on the weekly with this rejection candle, we're expecting a bullish movement on the USD card for this week. And if you go down to daily, you can see there is a bullish engulfing candlestick already. That is still an indication of a move to the upside. But then on the daily, there is a support turn resistance at this zone here. So we have a support turn resistance and price is back to that level. So we may see a retracement before a continuation. So this is the 4 hour. You can see price is exactly on that spot. So we may see a retracement, then a breakout. So if it happens like that, either you are a swing trader, then you need to watch carefully. You can see, even when we draw our trend line, it's the possibility here is that at this point, we may have a retracement to retest the trend line, then a breakout. And that can also give us, an inverse head and shoulder outlook here, which is still equally a bullish pattern. So let's watch and see how it goes. These are projections, but either way it goes, I remain bullish on the USD card. And let's go finally to 1 hour to see if for day traders, they can also cash in on this move. Though it's more a 4 hour setup, but nonetheless, for those who are day traders, they can still cash into it as long as price comes to retest the trend line and it breaks out above. Even if you're a day trader, you are free to trigger it by once there's a clear breakout. Now, for the 1 hour, RSI is already above 50 mark. This is already above zero, so it's already in a bullish trend. Now, this is different from those who are doing swing trading, who have to wait for RSI to cross above 50 and even MACD to cross above zero. Okay, for swing traders, RSI is already above 50. Oh, that's a good one. And MACD is just trying to cross above zero. So either way it goes, what we're looking out for is a retest and a breakout to the upside. So we're bullish on the USD card. Gold, USD CHF. Okay, I think Esther joined us late already. Okay, it's GBP USD and Euro USD analyzed. All right, so let me do USD CHF, then I'll go to gold. So don't forget that we're bullish, massively bullish on the dollar index. This is the dollar index with a rejection candle. So overall, we're expecting a very bullish dollar this week. So with that, we'll go to the USD CHF. And USD CHF, like the other ones, also closed as a rejection candle. Technically, that is a bullish movement. Whether we need to look out for further confirmation. Now, there's no support, no clear support zone in view. This is the monthly. We just have these massive rejection candles, but then there's always a way around it. The lower trend line also, where price is forming lower low, can act as our support. So we can clearly see from there, price, touching the trend line on a weekly time frame, forming lower lows, lower low, lower low, lower low, and here we have a lower low. Now, each of the lower lows is actually a support. These are support zones. All right, and as support, we're looking for a breakout to the upside. So technically, we're bullish on the USD CHF on the weekly. So let's go to the daily. Nothing much on the daily. 4 hour. Nothing too clear on the 4 hour to 1 hour. On 1 hour, We have a support turn resistance. Support turn resistance. Now, price is ranging around that resistance zone. So we may expect a retracement, then a breakout. If it happens that way, or anytime price breaks out above this resistance zone, you're free to trigger a buy on the USD CHF. So we're bullish on the USD CHF. And finally, I'll look at gold. Now, gold has been doing some massive stuff. I can see overnight. Let me see something. Today is Monday 2nd. You can see the massive drop it has done overnight. My advice, if you can stay away from gold for now, please do. There's no point trying to give yourself some heart attack over gold. Yeah, I know it can be profitable, but the risk can be high. Just overnight, between last night and now, it has dropped to the tune of over 3,500 pips. Will it keep dropping? Well, I can't say. Will it reverse to buy? Honestly, nothing is really certain at the moment, other than just sit down and watch. Because if you can drop 3,005 between last night and now, it can do anything. So I'll just advise you, just stay off gold for now if you can. No setup, no technical setup in view. None at the moment. None at the moment. All right, so that'll be all from our end this morning. Hope you enjoyed our analysis. Don't forget to join us again by 12:30 p.m. in the afternoon for our afternoon analysis. And we also have online webinars, twice in a week, Mondays and Wednesdays by 4 p.m. Do try to join us. So today there's going to be a webinar, and we have physical training session at our two locations, that's Abuja and Lagos, 11 a.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Take advantage of all these educative programs to get to know how to trade Forex better, especially for yourself. All right, take care and have a great week ahead. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, sir. We are very grateful. Have a great week ahead.